I'm going to fill in some gaps that haven't been mentioned by those that have gone before me. And I'm just going to start because I also was artistic director for a short period of time. And I don't want to leave out as part of that community that Michael Wenzowski and Janet Townsend took us through to the end in 1999 when we called a halt to concerts. But in the early years, when Catherine and I started out with Ian, we didn't have a small venue. We did a number of house concerts, and between 1983 and 1988, although we did one in 1996 too, but the Old Sod had 16 house concerts before we got other venues like the Bon Vivant restaurant and the Stone Angel, which were perfect for small groups. And we had to rearrange our living room and dining room, and the kitchen was in the back kitchen where people could get something to drink at the break. And we would put the performer in the corner in the living room. And Vince Finesse would arrange for 30 to 40 chairs to be delivered from the Party Palace to be, and then we would set up. And of course, people would help with takedown, and Party Palace would show up the next day to take the chairs back all piled on the front porch. But I just want to talk to you and let you know that Old Sod had about 170 concerts between 1983 and 1999. And of course, we had a number of performers more than once. And just quickly, house concerts, I'm just going to give you some names. I'm not going to go through all of them, but Michael Cooney, Peter Bellamy, Martin Wyndham Reed, Roy Bailey, Patty Tutty, Saul Brody, I think was at your house, Shelley, and Rufus Ginchard and Kelly Russell, who put on a memorable concert. We'd agreed to, Rufus was getting the
Order of Canada.
Order of Canada that day, and he wanted someone to travel with him, and they wouldn't cover the costs of that person. So Kelly came, and we decided to have a house concert to raise the money to cover the cost of Kelly accompanying Rufus. And that was a memorable event. Alistair Anderson was also part of that, and Roy Bailey was here more than once. So we then moved on by really 1988, for the most part, was the last of the house concerts. We'd got to other venues. And I just want to talk, because you've seen a few posters, but when you think of Scotland, besides the Battlefield Band and Capper Cayley, Phil Cunningham, Andy Stewart, Archie Ray, and Cilla Fisher, we had Tony Cuff and Billy Jackson, Dick Dawkin, Hamish Moore, and Rod Patterson, Sheila's. From England, you've seen the Martin Carthy, John Kirkpatrick, Dave Swarbrick, the Wattersons, Brass Monkey, and you can add to that Pete Coe, June Tabor, Martin Simpson, Marion Hasek, and Chris Newman. There's a long list of performers. English, Dab Hand, Pete Morton, we had a number of times. And from Ireland, Four Men and a Dog, Altan, several times, Patrick Street, Kinvara / Real Union, and the Dolores Kane Band. They were all accompanying Dolores Kane, whom we had a number of times. Buttons and Bows, Crievrua, Joe and Antoinette McKenna. A long list of American performers, some of which I've already, with house concerts, but Tom Paxton, John Roberts, Rude Girls, Tempest, Magpie Bermuda Quadrangle, etc. And I'm not going to be complete. And a long list of Canadian. I was fundraising director for a while, and we could seldom ever get money for our shows from the city or the Ontario Arts Council because we didn't have enough CanCon. And it's strange, although we were successful a couple of times, but we had the Friends of Fiddler's Green, Grit Laskin, Devil's Pipe, Paddy Tutty, Rare Air, Jim Payne and Kelly Russell, Muddy York, Cromdale, Aurealis, Shenanigans, 6 Mile Bridge, James Keelahan. We were the first to book James Keelahan before he became a regular for Acoustic Waves. And the list goes on. Actually, there's a long other page of Adviel Kapura, Finigma, Kelly Cranky, the Distorter Band, which Ivan may remember, Jeté Lapont, Rufus Ginchard, Bob Bosson, Finest Kind, of course, Loretta Reed and Brian Tahini, Dawnbreakers. And, you know, and all of those, which was a wonderful exposure to music and performers, and we had a lot of support. We were lugging around, and I can remember Stuart Patch, who was handling sound. Vince Vaness used to handle sound, but Stuart would do most of the picking up of all of the microphones and all the acoustic equipment that was required for, and the soundboard, which was lived in our basement for many years and took 2 people to get up and down the stairs. None of this could have worked without a broad community of people who helped in hall setup, hall teardown, kitchen, as Ivan mentioned, booking. And one of the challenges we had is that we ended up using about 20 venues during that period. Everything from restaurants to community centers, Notre Dame High School, Immaculata, Jack Purcell, you name it. There were a lot. And so I think it was an engaging and fun time for all of us. Some of us, we enjoyed musicians staying with us, and they always provided some memorable moments. So let me finish there, and I'm going to turn it over to Catherine to talk about the formal creation of the board, etc.